Remember that one awesome season of True Detective? It was actually really good. And that was kind of it. It had one good season. It probably didn't need to have more seasons after it. And they decided to try and bring it back, except for this time, they've made it woke. That's right. Woke. Now, Jodie Foster headlines the fourth season of the once mighty HBO anthology series, and you might be surprised to know that the director has said, it is your fault. It is your fault. She has attacked bros for giving it negative reviews. Why? You don't like girl bossing? You don't like white people bad? You don't like two dudes banging in the first episode? That's your problem. You need to give the show 5 stars. This is via your boy, Christian Toto. HBO's True Detective arrived as TV's new golden age was in full swing. The 2014 show starring Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey stunned audiences and critics alike. Quality will often do that. The anthology series continued with stars like Vince Vaughn, Mahershala Ali, Colin Farrell, although subsequent seasons can't capture the greatness of the searing debut. That was then. Today's TV shows are often too infected by woke, the practice of pushing progressive tropes that elbow out thoughtful, engaging series and stories. Examples are too numerous to mention, but consider the dramatic fall of Star Wars brands as exhibits A, B, C, and the rest of the alphabet. Enter True Detective Night Country, the fourth season of the series, and the first new detective yarn in 5 years. The latest installment is anchored by Oscar winner Jodie Foster. HBO retains a solid reputation for smart original shows, and Foster doesn't jump on any old film or TV show. She's picky and more often than not showcases her good taste in projects. Not so fast. Episode 1 of Night Country follows veteran cops Jodie Foster and Kaylee Reese as they untangle the disappearance of a research team and enduring mystery behind local activists is unaliving. Set in fictional Enos, Alaska, the series quickly hits some stodgy woke notes. We meet a, quote, empowered woman who smacked a domestic abuser in the head with a metal bucket, leaving him unconscious. She's proud of her act when the police arrive, and the episode brings up and then dismisses any worries that the woman acted inappropriately. Is that guy dead? Who cares? Domestic abuse bad, women good, black, white. Weak. The story beat isn't even necessary. It just tells the show how men are crooked and women have had enough. That's not storytelling, it's a lecture, and it's not the only one. Foster's character routinely dresses down her male colleagues because she's super smart and they're well men and therefore not so bright. The show gets quickly bogged down in melodramatic subplots, including a teen girl filming herself pleasing or hooking up with her girlfriend. Because inclusion. Later, Reese's character is seen hooking up with a male partner who looks uncomfortable mid-coitus. She ignores his protests and keeps going on, oblivious to his pain, and clearly the alpha in the situation. So does she R-word him? Because empowerment. Multiple times, characters are dismissed for being white, the new slur enabled by DEI culture. Need more woke stroke? Reese's character sabotages the car's gas tank because she overheard the owner speaking crudely about women. In Enos, Alaska, is Enos, Alaska a hotbed for misogyny? Perhaps. Storytellers can depict in subtle ways, letting audiences fill in the gaps. Foster's Silence of the Lambs did just that. The 1991 classic showed how Foster's character was outnumbered by male FBI agents, and they didn't hide their disdain for the woman in their midst. One brief visual highlighted her small frame surrounded by larger, unsmiling men in an elevator. Simple, clean, distinctive. Director Jonathan Demme shared details without interrupting the story. Foster's Clarice Starling had to outwit Hannibal Lecter and outpace the Bureau's misogyny. Brilliant. That's hardly the case with Night Country, at least so far. All of this distracts from the fact of Night Country's chilling opener. An Alaskan research post is suddenly emptied of its all-male crew. The characters have some initial interest in the thread during episode 1, but more attention is paid to the activist who apparently silenced by our enemies several years ago. That's sad and tragic, but what about the research post with all the missing men? Showrunner Issa Lopez, who directed and co-wrote all 6 episodes, is already playing the woke defense for the series after just 1 episode. New episodes debut at 9 p.m. Eastern Sunday nights. Liberal critics are rallying to Lopez's side, giving the show a 96% fresh rating. General audiences aren't smitten, but the grade isn't terrible. It's 71%. The difference proved enough for Lopez to play the victim card. So if you liked last night's episode of True Detective Night Country and have a Rotten Tomatoes account, maybe head on over there and leave an audience review, Lopez wrote to her followers. The bros and hardcore fans of season 1 have made it a mission to drag the rating down, and that's kind of sad considering all the 5 stars. The bros? She has zero idea. She has zero information, zero knowledge of who is actually leaving those negative reviews. She just assumes it's men. If you don't like Night Country, you're sexist and probably racist too. Of course. Variety wrote to the rescue, suggesting Lopez is right and audiences are review brigading the show because there's no other reason for it to be attacked. Lopez didn't identify the exact reason why True Detective fans were trying to drag down Night Country audience rating, but the franchise entries led by women and or inclusive casts often become the target of review brigading. It happened to Marvel with Captain Marvel and Sony's 2016 Ghostbusters reboot. How'd that Captain Marvel sequel do? When Captain Marvel was not required reading for Endgame, how did it do? Oh yeah, it lost $250 million. How did the 2016 all-female Ghostbusters movie do? Yeah, it lost $250 million. Meanwhile, some of the negative Rotten Tomato reviews of Night Country seem far from unreasonable. Lazy writing, two-dimensional characters, and overacting, complete disappointment, especially as season 1 is my favorite. Jodie Foster is quite good. The other lead actor is exceptionally bad. Having only one facial expression, I get that she's a girl boss, but does that really mean she has to be completely emotionless all the time? Even her most intimate grape scene felt very flat and bland. Most of the dialogue feels very cringe and unnatural, and the supernatural element is hammy and obvious, disappointing so far. I saw a couple complaints about review brigading, but that's not what I'm doing. This season simply does not come close to season 1 or any other season. I mean, it's just an overindulgent, far left, garbage tier show. That's all it is. Of course critics like it. Season 2, by the way, had a 20% audience score. Season 3 had a 49% audience score. So were those also bros and people that didn't like women giving the show negative reviews in season 2 and 3, or did they just suck? So, I mean, come on, a 69% and for one episode no less is miles higher than the audience score. Paul Tassi even, said it isn't getting review brigaded. It's miles higher than the audience score of the last 2 seasons, and no one is accusing viewers of review brigading those. I'm frankly a little bit surprised the heralded season 1 isn't in the 90s. The 20% reflects how much people hated season 2. I think season 3 deserves way more than 49, but maybe not review brigading, but bad taste, at least I'd argue. This is pretty weird from a showrunner, especially given the context of the actual scores in question. I get that review brigading, which I genuinely don't think this is annoying, but I would probably just let things play out before letting accusations fly. And why did she delete it? Because it probably got worse. I mean, it's it's at a 70%. What do you want? With 1,000 ratings, and she's complaining about that? And my guess is she probably got Rotten Tomatoes to delete a bunch of 1-star reviews too. I'm sure Rotten Tomatoes wrote in and deleted a bunch of negative reviews because that's what they did for Captain Marvel, right? That's what they did for Captain Marvel. Oh, look at this. An overweight woman with red hair gave it a 9 out of 10. What a coincidence. An overweight woman with red hair, no sunlight ever touching her skin, and red lipstick from IGN. And you can't spell, I don't know, losing without IGN. You can't spell ignorant without IGN. Gave it a 9 out of 10. I've seen the episode. It's not good. It is just simply not good. And I don't plan on watching anymore, you know, and especially if she's going to call out bros. Like, what is this? And by the way, every time somebody whines about review brigading, and then 1,000 10 out of 10s roll in from people that never saw the show, nobody calls that out. That's review boosting, right? The same people that whine and complain about review brigading are fine. When you look at the score distribution, when these shows are like politically divisive, you usually have thousands of 10 out of 10s and thousands of 0 out of 10s, and then very few in the middle, right? They don't care. They don't want you to look at all the 10 out of 10s from brand new accounts, though. They want you to only look at the 0 out of 10s, and those must be the real racists. I don't really understand, you know, why these people hate you. They don't want any criticism. The bros and hardcore fanboys of season 1, your show sucks. Your show sucks, and there's a reason she deleted the tweet. She probably got absolutely destroyed, and it didn't stop all these articles. So yes, it blows. The show sucks. Anybody who watched it would tell you that. But I guess I'm just a man, so my opinion is irrelevant. I guess they'll take my HBO's happy to take my money, though. What a joke.